Hi everyone, so welcome to today's video. We are doing a full face of drugstore makeup. Start to finish, it's all drugstore. Some things I've used before, some things are new to me in this video, and I'm sharing my first impressions on those products. I discovered a new combo for lip that is just, yes, 10 out of 10, and I cannot wait to share that with you. But we're gonna start from scratch, and we're gonna get to this look right here, which is kind of smoky with some gold, with a little bit of a kind of subtle greenish tinge twist to the gold eyeshadow, which I think is kind of fun for the day. Just, you know, trying some different shades out and showing you this look. We're gonna do it all, start to finish. So if you wanna see the entire look, then just keep watching. The first thing I wanna do is apply some primer. I have the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This was a free gift with purchase when I placed an order several months ago. And I don't remember if I enjoyed this. This is the sort of dupe to the Tatcha primer that came out several years ago. And this is just e.l.f.'s version of it. They tend to create dupes for very popular viral high-end products. So I'm going to try this little sample. I think it's a good size to really see if I like it. I don't remember. I wish I did. So wish me luck that this does not make my foundation look weird or anything, because I'm kind of stuck with this makeup for the rest of the day. I've really enjoyed the BK Beauty 101 brush to apply my primer, so I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm working that primer from a palette. I'm not putting my fingers into the jar, and I'm just going to use the brush to focus this product mostly here where I have larger pores. And then whatever's left, I'm just going to kind of blend this out through the rest of my face, maybe just a little bit up in this region here. And I'm going to use the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. The shade that I ordered was Porcelain, and I've used this before in a previous drugstore video. It is too light. I matched myself incorrectly there, which I've been doing a lot lately. So I'm going to mix a little bit of the e.l.f. Halo Glow filter. This is the shade number 6, Tan Deep, to sort of bring this to a more wearable shade for me, because this is way off. Yeah, that's the thing with drugstores foundations. That's why I don't use them that often, because I always get my shade wrong, and it just is kind of frustrating to have to return it or order a new one. It just makes the process not fun. So we're gonna just use this little technique that I've used throughout the summer to add like a liquid bronzy type of product into something that's lighter, and just mix the two together and just make it work. So I've got that on my palette. Okay, so I'm not quite sure. I think well, one, I need to blend this out a little bit better. I'm gonna use my Anisa Pinnacle foundation brush, which I think is incredible, to blend this in. And by doing that little technique of mixing a liquid bronzer into the foundation, I am able to adjust and fix my mistake. And I've talked about this before, but that's like a genius little beauty hack to remember when the summer comes back around next year and you get a little bit of color, but you don't want to repurchase your favorite foundation in a deeper shade. You don't have to. You can just use something like the e.l.f. Halo Glow filter to add a little bit extra color. And I think now it looks a little dark. Story of my life. Yay. Love that for me. And I started off with 2 pumps of the foundation for my little mixing combo today, and I feel like that's way too much product, which I still have quite a bit left, which is a waste, but I don't think I need quite the full 2 pumps. I think probably about a pump's worth of foundation is pretty accurate for the coverage that I like. And I'm not going to use my beauty sponge. I think this foundation did a perfect job at blending that in, and I am happy with the way that looks, although it's a little dark. So let's just kind of move past that and move on to concealer. I haven't used this e.l.f. in a few months, and the shade Fair Beige I think was okay. It smells a little strange. Not like expired strange, but it just smells a little weird. So I'm going to just take a little bit with a little bit of the brightener from Maybelline. This is a really good product from Maybelline that I love. This is shade number 160, so it's the pink one. I'm going to use my Beauty Blender to blend out my concealer. And this concealer is not bad. It's just not, I would say it's just not wowing me. If I had to pick a drugstore concealer, I would say go with the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop. I'm taking just a little bit more of the Fair Beige right in through here where I can still see a little bit of shadowing. And what I'm going to do actually is bring in my concealer brush. This is the Anissa Beauty Angle Concealer Brush, one of my favorites. I absolutely love this brush. This helps retain the coverage and also stretch that product and that tiny little dot across a larger surface. So I can really make that one little dot work very well for me instead of having to kind of keep coming back to add more. So I should have started with the brush to begin with, but this is my first time using this brush with the e.l.f. concealer. I've been using this every day with my other concealers and it's perfection. So much so that I have backups of the concealer brush and also the Pinnacle foundation brush. I have two. I have to set my concealer so it doesn't crease, and I'm going to use the Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Powder. This is the shade Translucent. I think it only comes in 2 shades, this translucent and a banana color. So I'm going to just use my beauty sponge to blend this in. So I'm going to just set this. I like to use my beauty sponge for this step because it helps sort of set but remove that very powdery look that sometimes some powders can give you. So that moisture from the sponge really helps absorb any excess. And I'm going to take whatever I have left and just go through my T-zone. And now we get to do the brows because I feel like that's really going to just help with this look and kind of change this face a little bit because it's looking a little crazy. So this was pretty easy for me to pick out of my collection, the products, because I already use drugstore products for my brows. Generally, I do like my high-end products, but the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Pen is a must. I also have been really loving the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Brunette. And the NYX Brow Glue, the clear one, has been my go-to as well. It's kind of similar to my Too Faced Fluff and Hold Laminating Wax. So these are the 3 products that I use pretty regularly. If I don't use this pencil, it will be like my Benefit pencil or my Anastasia pencil. But I do really like this one from NYX. So I'm going to use these products today to do my brows. And I'm really going to kind of zip through this and do most of this off camera because this process does take me quite some time. I'm going to go ahead and apply my Milani Eyeshadow Primer and give that some time to set on my lids because I've noticed that this primer is just a little bit, it feels a little oily. So I like to wear this for a few minutes before I go directly into eyeshadow because it does feel greasy, honestly. I don't know. Is that normal? I don't know, but the tiniest bit goes the longest way, which is great because then that means it'll last a while, that tube. But I do feel like I like to let it sit for a little bit until I feel like it's not as oily. This little stick duo here from NYX that I forgot to use on my last drugstore video, which was a couple weeks ago. This is the Wonder Stick. It's a dual-ended face shaping stick, and I purchased Universal Light. So one side is a highlight, which is quite, almost looks kind of like a yellow gold. And the other side is your bronzer. So I think I'm going to, I don't know, let's just kind of draw a little bit of this on to see because I haven't used this formula. And I think I'm going to use my Makeup by Mario angled brush. Oh man, okay. Well, this actually, I mean, it blends fine if you just kind of scribble and work in sections. But I feel like this formula, just based off of it being just a tiny bit tricky, if you swipe and scribble and then kind of start digging for a brush, I feel like that's going to cause this to set just a little bit. But it blended out quite nicely, honestly. It's not too bad. I'm just scared to use too much because my face is just too dark. So I'm going to just do a little bit. Yeah. And then let's do it here. I don't know. I normally don't contour my nose. I feel like I just messed that up. I don't normally contour my nose. I don't really know why I did that today. But I'm going to just concentrate this in the hollows of my cheek and then bringing it up just a little bit, kind of avoiding coming too close towards my nose with it. Just continue blending this out. I wonder what would happen if I just kind of swipe I think that's probably how I should have used this, really. Swipe and then just kind of pat. Yeah, I think that's probably better than scribbling it on. For blush, I have a few different options, but I think I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. Luminous Blush in the shade called Bermuda. This is part of their putty line. I don't think I've used this on camera in a long time. I've had this blush in my collection for about a year at this point, and I've used it a few times, and it's pretty. It's got some shimmer to it, so I don't know if that's a good idea with the luminosity that I'm getting from the e.l.f. Halo filter that I mixed into the foundation, but I'm just gonna lightly tap a little bit and just kind of buff that into the skin ever so slightly. For highlighter, I'm gonna use my Milani Baked Highlighter in Dolce Perla. I used this in my last drugstore video, but this is actually really, really pretty, and I like that sort of icy kind of pinky tone that this gives. So I'm gonna use some of this today, and I like their baked formula. And you may have tried like their baked blushes. They're pretty good. I like the shade Primavera. That's like my favorite that I discovered like 2.5 years ago. I discovered that blush and I still have it in my collection because it's just that good. Now we get to do a little bit of something on the eyes. I'm not quite sure the direction that I want to go in today for eyes. The last drugstore video, I used a palette from Milani and I showed this Ultimate Queen from NYX in that video, and I didn't get a chance to use it because I felt like it was just too many colors. So I think I'm going to use some of these shades. There's a sparkly gold that's more of like a yellowy gold with a touch of green almost to it. It's kind of reflective. Then you have a lighter, softer gold, a peach, a couple brown shades, and then a deep dark espresso that kind of looks a little bit black. We'll see what that looks like, but I'm going to sort of work with some of these just to see how this formula is. I haven't used NYX eyeshadows in a long time, but before I do that, I have to take a little bit of setting powder to set this primer. You know, it doesn't feel oily anymore, so maybe it goes on oily and then it sets that primer from Milani. So maybe I don't need to set it. You know what? I'm gonna do it because I typically do, and I want to make sure that I'm not gonna get any creasing today. So I'm going to take that same Conceal and Perfect powder from Milani on a fluffy brush and just quickly sweep right over the top. And the brush that I'm using is a flat setting brush, the PD5 from Profusion. And I'm going to stick to that brush actually, and I'm going to go into the peach shade that's in here. It's kind of almost right in the center of this palette, and it has a crown imprinting on it, which looks kind of neat. And I'm going to just tap off the excess, and I'm going to sweep that all over my crease and my lids, not being too perfect and precise because this is quite large of a brush for this, but I'm already here using this brush for other things, so I might as well just use it to start building my crease work here for today. And that's applying nicely. It is pretty light, but you might be able to tell on camera there is a subtle peach tinge coming from that, which is, it's not bad. It's pigmented, went on just fine. I'm going to switch to a different Profusion brush. This is the ES2. This is a firm blending eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to start building my crease, and I'm going to go into this really warm tan shade here, which is right next to the peach if you have this palette. If not, just any warm tone, or even this one that's a little bit deeper, a bit more on the cooler side, as opposed to this one, or just any brown that you have in your collection. Start by patting this color here, and then sweeping it into my crease. And that shade is quite warm, honestly. It almost kind of looks like a peanut buttery type of shade. Like my descriptions, peanut butter shade. It does pick up a lot, and it is pretty powdery when you put your brush in there. So if you buy this palette, just know that the moment you put a brush in there, it's going to kick up a bunch of powder, and it's going to create a little bit of a mess. But I honestly don't see any fallout yet, which is a good thing. So I'm going to start by patting, as I did on the other eye, on the outer part, so the outer V, and then I'm going to start sweeping once I have the majority of the product placed. And I'm going to build that up, that same shade, same brush, but I'm going to just keep my brush right in this area here. I'm not going to sweep it in towards the center or inner part of my eye, I want to retain that richness right out here by just tapping. I'm going to go back in with that first brush that I used to apply the peach with nothing on it, so whatever was left over. I'm going to go around the edges. I think I'm going to switch to a smaller brush, take that same tan shade, that peanut buttery type of color, and run that on my lower lashes to sort of bring this look down to the under eye area so it's more cohesive instead of just ignoring the under eye area and leaving it bare. And for this, I like to use my Morphe E36. It's a very tiny brush that I've had for years, but it really is like a detail brush. So any small brush will work for this step. And I like to do it thicker on this outer part where it connects to the outer part of my eye. And then I like to taper that pretty thin towards the inner corner so that it's not so thick towards that inner part, because I want that part to be a little bit lighter and brighter. I'm going to take that same brush and move right over to this next color, which has, again, a crown sort of embossing into it. And I'm going to sort of dip my brush in there very lightly, tapping off the excess, and I'm going to run that same color right underneath my lower lash line, because I do want a smoky under eye area today. Same thing on the other eye. I have some options for the lid. I could definitely do that matte peach shade if I wanted to, but then I have these two other shades here, which I will swatch them for you. One is a lighter gold, which is the first shade, and then here is that one that's the second shade that is a deeper gold, more foiled, and there is a hint of green. Do you see that? A hint of a subtle green. So I think I might just try to incorporate both of them, because why not? You know, more is more when it comes to eyeshadows. So I'm going to start with the foiled gold one, and I'm going to use my ring finger to pick some of that up, and then just tapping this. I'm going to start from the center, working my way out. And I normally don't even use a lot of gold because it's never been a shade that I've been just wanting and desiring. I would rather wear a bronze, which has a little bit more brown and more copper and more warmth, than using or reaching for a gold. But this is actually pretty neat. And the green is that shifty kind of sparkle, slightly kind of glittery, but not chunky, not big pieces. It's not rough. It's actually very smooth. So yay, I'm happy about that. And then I'm going to take the lighter gold for the inner corner. So I'm going to incorporate both of those in today's look. But I think for that, I'm going to have to move into a brush because my finger is way too wide for that innermost corner. So I'm going to use my reference number 3. And I'm going to fade that light gold right into that more foiled metallic-y greenish gold. And then just kind of sweep where they meet. And it creates kind of like a fade. I like that. A lot more gold than I'm used to, but I actually like it. I feel like that palette kind of redeemed itself there. I'm not mad at the mattes, but they're not the absolute best ones that I've used. And then whatever's left on my brush, I think I'm going to just take a tiny bit of that right through the inner corner. And then I'm going to wipe that same little brush off, and I'm going to go back into my face highlight for my inner corner highlight because I don't have anything light. Everything in this palette is pretty dark for this innermost portion here. So I'm going to just use my Dolce Perla and just kind of overlap those two. So it's going to be a little icy, a little bit slightly golden. Very pretty and definitely doable for the inner corner. And I'm just going to kind of tap that out and blend. Whatever is left on my brush, I'm going to hit the brow bone area. Then I think I want to add just a little bit more depth to the outermost portion of my eye. And I'm going to switch to a small Milani brush. I've had this for a couple of years and I really like it. It came in a set. It's like a travel set. It's basically a pencil style brush, but a little bit wider. And it's perfect for stamping on the outer corner. So I'm going to start with that sort of darker brown that I use on my lower lash line. I'm going to take some of that with that Milani brush, tapping off the excess. And I'm just going to stamp it right over that metallic shade just to deepen and create more of a smoky kind of shadow. Maybe you can see there, just by switching the brush to something a little bit more dense, it's going to deposit more color. And I'm just doing just a little bit. Can you see a difference between this eye? It's a little bit smokier and deeper here than this eye. Just a little bit makes the biggest difference. Time for some eyeliner and mascara. This was easy for me because the NYX Epic Ink Liner in dark brown is the one that I use almost every single day. I absolutely adore this eyeliner. I'm obsessed. So I'm just going to line and then do some of my Milani mascara. So the mascara is done. I try to build this up a little bit, and I've been using this on and off since my first drugstore video that I posted, using it for the first time and first impression. I want to say it was within the last 2 months or so, and I just feel like it just is not for me. Number one, the brush is just way too big. It's huge. Look at that. It's enormous. I don't feel like it needs to be that big. I also don't feel like it needs to have that deep set hourglass shape to it. I feel like it doesn't really improve anything. And the formula is still just as wet as it was the first time I took it out of the packaging and used it. So I thought it would have gotten better. Sometimes mascaras, the more they sit, the better they get. But this one is pretty consistent with the way it was from day one to now, about approximately 2 months later. It's not a bad thing. It's just not my personal preference. And I think I would just prefer L'Oreal Lash Paradise, a CoverGirl Exhibitionist possibly instead, or something from Maybelline. They generally have pretty good mascaras. So it's not my favorite. I wouldn't recommend it. There's other options out there. So we have to do the lip combo for today. And I took out of my drawer the Revlon Colorstay Longwear Lip Liners. I have not used one of these in a very, very long time. I purchased the shade Nude from Target. And I like that sort of automatic twist up. I think it makes it easy for on the go. So I'm going to line and pretty much fill in my lips just about entirely with this. Okay, let me just tell you, that went on with ease and just, yes. I love when a product works from the jump, and that was smooth and easy to apply, to line, to fill. Man, I've been sleeping on this. Y'all, let me tell you, I'm going to go get some more shades of this. I'm going to use the Naturium Phyto Glow Lip Balm. I think that's how you pronounce that. I bought a couple of these from the Naturium website, and I bought some of their skincare products to try, and I purchased the hot pink called Hibiscus, and I've used this before, and it actually is very comfortable. It reminds me a lot of my Summer Friday lip balms in that thick texture. So I'm just going to apply some of that directly from the tube, and it does have a little bit of a pink tone to it. It looks like it's more of a hot pink, which I thought, hey, that would be kind of cool, a hot pink lip balm. So I don't have to commit to a lipstick or something more intense. I thought lip balm would be really nice. It's a little pink, but it's not as bold as I thought it was going to be. It definitely does not look like the tube. But the formula, oh, it feels so luxurious. I love these. I bought the Hibiscus shade. I need to go back and order some more. I bought Petal. I think you can get these at Target as well. I ordered directly from the website, but you can check your local Target. They do sell the skincare at Target stores. So I love that formula. It's quickly become one of my favorites. And I just really enjoy the colors. And they have different shades, clear, several pink tones, some deeper shades, a nice dark berry shade, which I think I probably should have gotten because that probably would have given me that berry fall lip without being too intense. So stay tuned. I may still get that one. But this is the overall look. Okay, so the look is complete. The video is done. This is my makeup for the day. And I actually do like pretty much how everything looks. I think what's throwing me off is the fact that the foundation is just a little bit darker than what I'm used to. That was my own fault. The foundation itself is way too light. And then I got too heavy-handed and carried away with the dark bronze halo filter from e.l.f. But I think if I were to do this again, which I think I might try this again tomorrow, I'm going to scale back that bronzer shade because I do like the way the foundation went on and the coverage that it gave me. I think that foundation is marketed as a full coverage foundation, so I'm going to try that again. And I'm actually really surprised by the eyeshadows. I haven't used NYX in a while, and it was just really great and fun to sort of revisit that and do that on camera with you and sort of experience that again with you and just kind of give you my thoughts as to whether or not I'm going to use it. And I can definitely see myself reaching for this again and using some of these shades whenever I feel like using some golds. It's not typically a shade that I normally gravitate towards, but I'm really liking that with the dark brown and the dark brown eyeliner. And then the lip combo, let's just take a moment to talk about this combination, because this lip liner is Bomb Diggity, and I've been sleeping on it, and I've been testing these balms out, and they're incredible. Highly recommend. And everything is looking pretty good, I would say. Overall, I'm happy with the result. Also, share with me your favorites from the drugstore. I'm curious to see what your products are and what you are loving, what's currently in your makeup bag. Even if it's not drugstore, please share with me. I love hearing from you guys. You guys are incredible. The support that I've been given here is just on another level, so thank you so much. I appreciate that. Everything in the description box will be listed for you and linked in case you are interested in trying any of these products. And I will also link my favorites that you can shop. It's all in the description box, and you can sort of take a look at my favorites and shop there. And there are affiliate links, so I do earn a commission off of the sales. So if you do use my links, I appreciate you very, very much for supporting me and my channel. It means everything to me. And also pay me a visit on Instagram. It's always here on the screen. I look forward to seeing you there. Take care, you guys, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.